Guys, I finally did it. My talents are picked, so let's take a look. All right, we're gonna go down each row one by one, and then I'm gonna link my talent string in my description, so if anybody's interested. But right at the end, after I go over everything, I'm gonna hit the training dummies and kind of get a good number of what I am, because ran like 2 or 3 dungeons and I ended up top maybe between 4 and 500k. You know, I'm not super upset about that. So let's just jump right in. On the hunter side, I'm just going to go over quick. There's only a couple different choice spots. Most seem to be passive actually through all these trees. Did natural mending, you know, why not? Post haste, we all know what that's about. Kill shot, improved kill shot. Why can't, you know, it just keep getting better and better? Hunter's avoidance, which, you know, you take less area of effect damage, so I can't complain about that. Rejuvenating wind. Max health increased by 8%, and exhilaration now heals you for an additional 12%. Great. Now, this is where it starts getting where you're not taking the whole row. When Tar Trap, I use it very infrequently, but, you know, in those certain sections of dungeons, you might need a little slowdown, never hurts. Trank Shot. So, I based these talents off of another survival hunter I was running with and kind of mashed it all together because I prefer Tranquilizing Shot, obviously, and then you keep going down because, you know, if you're a hunter and you're not trank shotting it, that's a problem. Next, he took Misdirection. Right now I don't see a purpose with it. Maybe with difference in changes in tanks coming, it might be necessary more in the War Within, but not right now. Kodo Tranquilizer, which removes up to 1 additional magic effect from 2 nearby targets, so never hurts, a little extra if it happens. Muzzle, obviously you need to interrupt. Survival of the Fittest, you're going to reduce all your damage. Now here's one of my favorites coming up. Padded Armor. Survival of the Fittest gains an additional charge. You have 2. Now you're a little more tankier as a male wearing class that doesn't get smashed away immediately. Lone Survivor reduces the cooldown of Survival of the Fittest by 30 seconds and increases duration by 2 seconds. Check. And it reduces the cooldown of Countershot and Muzzle by 2 seconds. Yes, please. Specialized Arsenal. Wildfire Bomb deals 10% increased damage. That's just a flat boost. Disruptive Rounds. When Tranquilizing Shot successfully dispels an effect or muzzle interrupts a cast, gain 10% focus. So you gotta, you know, make sure you don't cap on focus, but you're always going to gain it back with that kind of stuff. We're going to jump down to Intimidation. I like it as a backup stun. You know, you have your Binding Shot, which will stun moving. You have Muzzle, which will interrupt them. Ice Trap, which will stop them from casting. But this is a one last. You can get those ones that are, you know, that a normal interrupt won't take care of. Explosive Shot. I believe we're going to learn on the other side that this is kind of the bread and butter of this spec. Binding Shot. Obviously, this is, you know, wasn't one that they took. This is where I took from Misdirection and put it to Binding Shot, because I think in a lot of M+, I find a better use for Binding Shot than I do Misdirection for now. We'll circle back and see what happens. Then we got Keen Eyesight. Critical strike chance increased by 4%. Win-win. Then went to Blackrock Munitions. The damage of Explosive Shot is increased by 8%. So right out of the gate, after you pick Explosive Shot, you have one that increases the damage of that. Trigger Finger. You and your pet have 5% increased attack speed. No complaints there. Pretty flat across the board. Pathfinding. Movement speed. This was just one that I took because... Oh, the one I was basing off of took Bursting Shot. I haven't really found, like, it knocks them back, yes, and it could be an interrupt, but with Intimidation, Ice Trap, Muzzle, Binding Shot, that's enough, I think. Maybe in one of the new dungeons, there might be a mechanic that you might need that, so I'm going to keep that in the back pocket, but I just took that off there and put it in Pathfinding. Obviously, there's no purpose to be over here in Pathfinding. So, Binding Shackles, that target's rooted by Binding Shot, knocked back by High Explosive Trap, and knocked back by Implosive Trap, incapacitated by Scatter Shot, or stunned by Intimidation, deals 10% less damage for 8 seconds after the effect ends. Really cool, because that incorporates, we'll get the last choice node would be out of the High Explosive and the Implosive Trap. But like I said, I use Binding Shot, and I use Intimidation. Camouflage. Me and my pet blend into the surroundings. Gotta have that. That's a nice stealth to have. You don't need the potions on hand. You know, just keep it. It reminds me of the mage invisibility to have just a have on the side. Improved traps. The cooldown of tar trap, steel trap, high explosive, and freezing trap reduced by 5 seconds. So not bad because I maintain tar trap and freezing trap right out the gate. Then we go to Born to be Wild. Reduce the cooldown of aspect of the eagle, aspect of the cheetah, and turtle by 30 seconds. So all three as a survival hunter and a hunter in general you should be using. Serrated tips. You gain 5% more critical strike from critical strike sources. Cool. Then we're down to the final row where kind of things like you kind of build your whole hunter tree to get down to these, and we kind of see what happens. Emergency Salve is feign death, and aspect of the turtle improves poison and removes poison and disease effects from me. So that's great. You know, switching from dwarf to Kultiran, I sacrificed stone form, you know, just for more character flair. So having this works out because I use feign death a lot. But in those times, now I have to train myself to remember that. Now that I'm talking it through, I don't think I've done it yet for that purpose, but whatever. Then we are on to the 2-point, the other choice one in this group. I went Implosive Trap instead of knocking out with the high explosive, because if they're almost identical except the direction that they go. So I went with up, so it'll interrupt them, but not knock them out of the tank's range or kind of might throw them into something. I don't know. I don't want to test it. Then my final choice was Unnatural Causes. Your damage over time effects deal 10% increased damage. This effect is increased 50% on targets below 20 health. So, with Hunter's Mark still existing, that helps with bonus damage at the beginning, and Unnatural Causes now helps with bonus damage at the end. So, for the Hunter side of things, which will probably be semi-standard for me, you know, I'll be flipping between Survival and Beast Mastery, so I like this setup. It has proven good, and if you stick around to the end, you will see that test on the multi-dummies. I think I'm going to go to Borealis. It's always nicer there. All right, on to Survival. This is where it gets really good. Obviously, you get a majority of the picks if you're looking at the whole thing. You pick a majority of them, but obviously the first 3 rows are all the same. Kill Command, Wildfire Bomb, Raptor Strike, Tip of the Spear, and Guerrilla Tactics. So everything up there is super important because it's your rotation. Kill Command is not optional because you have to start the tree. Wildfire Bomb, you gotta throw your bombs. Raptor Strike, yes. And then Tip of the Spear, you have to pay attention to that stack to kind of get your bonus based off what attack you use once they're at 3 stacks, because it stacks up 3 times, and no one's ever going to complain about you having too many bombs. So Wildfire Bomb now has 2 charges, and the initial explosion deals 50% increased damage, so throw away. In row 4, this is where I did leave one out. I went Lunge, Quick Shot, and Flanker's Advantage. So my auto attacks with 2-handed weapons reduce the cooldown of Wildfire Bombs for 1 second. Fantastic. When you cast Kill Command, you have a 30% chance to fire an Arcane Shot. Great. That actually one lives in my spellbook. I don't think as a Survival Hunter or a Beastmaster I've ever shot Arcane Shot. And that Flanker's Advantage is Kill Command has an additional 10% chance to immediately reset its cooldown. So you could just be bam, 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 back to back. On that next row went Wildfire Infusion, Improved Wildfire Bomb, Sulfur Lined Pockets, Butchery, which I have learned to love, but I found for a long time I was misusing it, and it's really not a single target because it attacks regularly up to 5 targets and then goes that damage reduced by after that, so you're still hitting everybody. Then Alpha Predator, your Kill Command now has 2 charges and deals 15% increased damage. And Harpoon, or Terms of Engagement, which affects Harpoon. It actually wraps that into your rotation now, because when you disengage out or if you strafe enough to the side, you just Harpoon back in and it deals almost 19,000 damage and generates 20 focus. And if you kill the enemy, it resets cooldown of Harpoon. Why not? It's fun to have. Oh, and I forgot about these. You know, Wildfire Infusion, Mongoose Bite, and Raptor Strike have a 10% chance to reset Kill Command. So having that chance to set Kill Command down over here with Raptor Strike, and it is, where is it? Jeez. I don't know, somewhere. This one. Kill Command has an additional chance to immediately reset it. So, yes. Every 3 quick shots is replaced with an explosive shot, and Wildfire Bomb deals an additional 8% damage. You're not going to turn down more damage. Next row, we took Grenade Juggler, Frenzy Strikes, Merciless Blows, Viper's Venom, and Bloodseeker. So my Wildfire Bomb is doing 5% increased damage and has 25% chance to cast an explosive shot at your target with 100% effectiveness. Told you, explosive shot's going to be a big deal over on this side. Butchery reduces the remaining cooldown of Wildfire Bomb by 1 second for each target hit up to 5. Wow, that's great. So that's probably why, mentally I was trying to play Butchery way too much, because I just felt like it felt right. It fits in, it feels good. Merciless Blows does that casting Butchery, makes your next Raptor Strike or Mongoose Bite hit 3 targets. So you're multi-targeting with Butchery, and then you end up multi-targeting with Raptor Strike. Viper's Venom, Raptor Strike and Mongoose Bite apply Serpent Sting to your target, and Serpent Sting is fantastic. It's a good bleed effect. Kill Command and Bloodseeker, which is Kill Command, causes the target to bleed for just over 13,000 damage over 8 seconds. So, and you and your pet gain 10% attack speed for every bleeding enemy within 12 yards. Because we're just bloodthirsty survival hunters. Next we're down, we went to Outland Venom. So each damage over time effect on a target increases crit strike damage they receive from you by 2%. So over on the other side, we were increasing crit. We're now increasing crit over here. So you don't necessarily, from what I've learned, obviously without raid bots there, but going after crit really isn't a thing. I believe it flipped to a mastery is your go-to here. Then you have Contagious Reagents. Reapplying Serpent Sting to a target also spreads out to 2 nearby enemies. So these kind of link together with the Viper's Venom into Contagious Reagents, so works well. Tactical Advantage, damage on flanking strike increased by 5%, and all damage dealt by Wildfire Bomb increased by 5%. I did not take flanking strike, so that first part really doesn't matter. It's all about that Wildfire Bomb damage, and I think that's why it's working so well, because you have everything else with spreading to multiple targets. It's starting to apply the bleeds and the poisons and all that kind of stuff. And then Ranger, which is Kill Shot, Serpent Sting, Arcane Shot, Steady Shot, and Explosive Shot, deal 20% increased damage. Just because. 20% for a Kill Shot, and this is doing Serpent Sting, and yeah, alright, great. Explosive Expert, Wildfire Bomb, cooldown reduced by 2 seconds, so now we're reducing it even more, so you're never really going to be sitting on a Wildfire Bomb for, without that other one right there. Sweeping Spear, Raptor Strike, Mongoose Bite, and Butchery damage increased by 10%. Raptor Strike and Butchery are main go-tos, recommended for everybody. Then it gets down to my last 3. It just makes a nice little triangle down here at the bottom. Coordinated Assault, gotta have it. You and your pet charge your enemies, striking them for a combined 120,000 physical damage. You and your pet's bond then strengthen for 20 seconds, causing you and your pet to deal 20% increased damage. While Coordinated Assault is active, Kill Command's chance to reset its cooldown is increased by 15%. I'm gonna save that choice one for last. I think we'll see. And Bombardier. When you cast Coordinated Assault, you gain 2 charges of Wildfire Bomb. So that's when you're about to run into a pack, you boom boom. Then when you hit Coordinated Assault, you get them back, and then you can start a new rotation. Just opens up the fight really well to me. All could change. I'm not an expert. Just your average everyday survival hunter. And then when a Coordinated Assault ends, your next 2 explosive shots are free and have no cooldown. So after, that, 20 seconds, then you get 2 explosive shots that, and boom, boom, hit your enemies everywhere. Now the choice. So Symbiotic Adrenaline or Relentless Primal Ferocity. I went the Primal Ferocity. The other one does the cooldown of Coordinated Assault is reduced by 60 seconds, and Coordinated Assault now grants 3 stacks of Tip of the Spear. So, with it being a 2, wow, you get it twice as much. That's pretty nice. But then I did Coordinated Assault sends you and your pet into a state of primal power for the duration of Coordinated Assault. Kill Command generates 1 additional stack of Tip of the Spear. You gain 10% haste, and Tip of the Spear's damage bonus is increased by 50%. So the stack of Tip of the Spear, right up here, it'll help increase the direct damage of your other spells by 15%, stacking up 3 times. So you're going to be building those stacks, casting Raptor Strike and Butchery and all those things, and just making sure that we're spending those stacks as we get them, because it does top out at 3. So with this even, you gain an additional stack. So you got to make sure you keep it at 2-1 range, because you're always going to be cycling through it as if your rotation is appropriate. So that is the talent sets that I chose for Survival Hunter. If you guys have any interest in, telling me there's a better way to play it, please put it in the comments below, because, I understand all of this, and I really get a better feel if I play it, and that's what we're going to do, so hang tight. All right, guys, we are back at beautiful downtown Boralus, back in the Training Dumbing District. I'm here. I'm gonna just test out my talents that you just watched me pick, and we'll see how they do. I'm just gonna do it once for as long as coordinated assaults rotation comes back up. So let's go. All right, after beating up on those dummies for about 2 minutes, I ended about 550k, 560. Obviously backing off, it counted some down, but it stabilized at 550k for 3 targets, so multi-target during Mythic Plus. I think that's pretty sweet. Now I want to take a look at the single target. We'll see how that does right over here on the Raiders training dummy. We'll see how single target does. I'm going to try not to get any of the other ones involved. So let's have a look. All right, after doing the single target one, it just stabilized down at 280k. I think that's pretty good. Like I said, when I was running those dungeons, the other people I was playing with, I ended at the top, if not right under. It was like Paladins, Death Knights, Shamans. You know, I was running with pretty much everything. All the flavors of the season right now. So, if you got any tips, tricks, let me know in the comments below. But thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you on my next video. See ya.